Hello lovely people, and welcome back to my channel. This is rather impromptu, and I'm going to try and make it a rather short video as well. I'm actually interrupting my housework to make this video. It is in fact the hottest day of the year so far. It is hotter than the devil's armpit at the moment, and I just kind of thought, well, because I'm hot, I might as well be hot. And so I have mowed the lawns, and I'm doing the hoovering, and I've been cleaning windows and everything, and so I've probably got a bit of a dab on. But you know, I'm just going with the flow. It's hot, so I just thought, get something out of it. And we've actually got some visitors coming to see us tomorrow, so the house needs to be in some kind of semblance of order. So that's what I'm doing. And I got to the point in my cleaning process where I thought, I'm going to clean my whiteboard. But as you can see, my whiteboard still has some writing on it. And the writing it has on it is, in fact, the spread that I shared during my Tarathon video. And what I thought I would do is actually make a very short video just about the spread, because I know that not everyone has watched the Tarathon video, not everyone would want to watch the Tarathon video because it's on a topic that they're maybe not particularly interested in, and it's quite a long video, it goes on for an hour. So I thought, why not do a short video that just takes the spread out? And the spread, I called the spread BCC's non-dual wisdom spread because my Tarathon video was about non-duality and the tarot, and it forms part of my awareness inquiries series. But actually, I think what we could do, if I can find my little whiteboard cleaner, is we can change the name of the spread for the purpose of this video. I'm going to make it something a little bit more generic. Non-dual sounds very specific, doesn't it? So let's call it Unity. BCC's Unity Wisdom Spread. Because the spread really is about how do we find connection in the context of non-duality. That means how do we find connection with all that is. But actually, I think we could apply this spread in a broader sense in terms of how do we find connection with ourselves and with others and all that kind of stuff. And that really is where I've come from on this. I hope you can hear me being so far away. What might be better is if I move the camera a bit closer to the whiteboard, and maybe if I close the curtains. Now that's either going to plunge us into darkness. Oh, that was the wrong window. Bear with. Is that better? Is that better or not so good? Oh, that might be better actually. Is that clearer? I think that could be clearer. Okay, so yes, I thought we could adapt this spread for unity in any context that we might mean it. And given the topic of my last video, which was all about how we work together and perceive ourselves as a community, and some of the tensions that can kind of come out of that, and that certainly have come out of that recently, I thought it would be nice to do something that is very much focused on connection and joining rather than opposition and pulling apart. So, the spread, and what I'm going to do, if I can find, I'm sorry, I'm not very organised. I'm going to use the same cards that I used in the non-dual spread, simply because I interpreted them in real time as we did the Tarathon event, so I can remember roughly what I said. So I'll do that so you can see it again. So basically, the spread is as follows. There are 5 places in the spread. The first one is asking, what is it that separates me? So if we're in a separated position of some sort, what is it that separates us? The second card is, why must I join together? What is it that would help me join together and find unity in a situation? The third card is the bridging card. In other words, what are the qualities and the energies that will help me to make that shift from separation to unity? What is it that will allow me to do that? What would support me in doing that? The fourth card is the Fool's message, and the reason that the Fool is important, and I've got the Fool there just to illustrate the point, the reason that the Fool is important is, and I talked about this in the Tarathon video, and I talked about it in my Tarot to the 9 series, is that the Fool, the Zero, is a marvellous representation of unity consciousness, the nothing from which everything proceeds. and to which everything will return. So basically it is a great representation of the all. It's a great representation of unity. And the little, the zero reminds me of that wonderful quote from, I can't remember who it's from. Is it from Tagore? Certainly it might be from one of the Upanishads. It's something, I'll try and find the reference, put it below, that God, however you conceive God to be, the God of your understanding, is a circle whose, whose centre is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. In other words, you know, the totality of everything that's boundless, that doesn't have a beginning or an end. It's eternal and boundless, and we are part of that unity. And this spread is about how do we get back to that sense of unity. So the fool is an important representation, and this position in the spread is what message does the fool have for us? What does the fool want to say to us about how we can make this unity process happen? And then finally, the fifth position, and this can either be a single card or it can be several cards. You can do a whole new reading. This is a wisdom reading. And those of you who are familiar with Rachel Pollack's work will know that she created this concept of wisdom readings, which are really designed to ask the tarot really big picture, big life stuff questions. So not so much questions like, you know, will I get this new job? Yes or no, etc., etc. Or even, you know, how do I heal this rift with my father-in-law or something? Not that those aren't important questions, but wisdom readings are about big picture stuff, big universal questions. So the example that she gives in her book, I think it's Forest of Souls, is that the first wisdom reading that she did when she invented the concept was actually to ask the cards to show her the reading that the tarot gave God when he was trying to create the universe. And it's worth seeking out her commentary on that because it's very, very, very fascinating. So this is about asking big picture questions that are about how do you, you know, something you want to know about unity and connection and unity consciousness. So in my example, the question I'm asking in the wisdom reading is, what is the soul? And I'm going to use one card. As I say, you could use as many cards as you want. So you can make it as big a spread as you want. That fifth position doesn't have to be a single card, it can be more than one. So again, briefly, first card, what separates me? Second card, why must I join? What will I get from joining together? Third card, what's my bridging card? What will help me do the joining together? Fourth card, what's the fool's message? Why does the fool want me to join together? What's the fool telling me about unity consciousness? And number 5, wisdom reading, question of your choice. Big picture question. Mine is, what is the soul? So these are the cards I got when I did this live on Tarathon. I pre-shuffled them and then these are the cards that came out. So, oops. And if you're wondering what's happening in terms of me sticking them on, my cards are giant Rider-Waite-Smith cards. I have coloured the borders according to the elemental attributions, so yellow for air in this page of swords, and then I've got magnetic strips that I stuck to the back, and now they stick to my trusty whiteboard. So it was that way around, and then that one. So basically, what separates me? I got the Magician. Now the Magician is a very positive card, so how could that mean that it separates me? Well, the Magician is about as above, so below. It's about using our own, if you like, power, our personal power to make things happen. The Magician is a doer. He or she makes things happen. He or she manipulates the elements at his disposal in order to get things to happen. Now, that is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a very positive thing. However, what it does is it constantly puts us in a position of being the doer in our own lives and feeling that we have to be responsible for things. Now, I'm certainly an advocate for self-responsibility, but in terms of unity, sometimes we need to remember to just go with the flow. And sometimes we need to remember that we aren't in control of the ship. We are passengers. And this leads into a whole other debate about free will and all that kind of stuff, and I'll get to that at some point. But here, in the context of this reading, what this makes me think is, what separates me sometimes is the sense that I feel that I have to control it all. Sometimes I don't. That's what separates me. What, or rather, why must I join? I got the 7 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups, of course, is all about choice, and it's about illusory choice as well. do we really know what we get when we choose things? You know, we might pull out a poison chalice, or we might pull out a chalice full of gold. So why must I join? Well, one of the things that's good about unity consciousness is it helps us to appreciate that we sometimes don't have to make choices. Sometimes they're made for us, and we're again, it's that thing of going with the flow. We're allowed to let ourselves go with the flow, and that can be a very good reason to seek out a sense of unity rather than separation. So what is my bridging card? What helps me to do that? I got the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords always makes me think of beginner's mind, because it's about youthfulness, it's about mind, it's about perception. So maintaining a kind of innocence in a beginner's mind is one of the best ways of staying connected and staying in a non-separated space. Just reminding ourselves that we don't know what's going on sometimes. Sometimes we just do not know what's going on, and that's okay. And then the Fool's Message was another sword card, the Eight of Swords, and the Fool's Message there, to me, when I pulled this out, was, it immediately reminds me that sometimes we can be in a cage of our own making. Now in this card, the reason I particularly love the RWS card is that here is someone who, she's blindfolded, she's bound, and she's surrounded by these swords. But the truth of the matter is, it looks as though the water around her is not particularly deep. It doesn't look as though she's actually completely bound in by these swords. She could walk forward and be away from all the swords. Even the blindfold and the bandages, or the ties around her, don't actually look that tight. So it's a reminder to us that sometimes we can make choices to free ourselves from our own self-imposed restrictions. That's what it says to me. And then finally, my wisdom reading was, what is the soul? And I got the lovely Ace of Cups. And to me, that says all kinds of things. It says something to me about the soul being something that we generate for ourselves. This idea of this flowing forward from this eternal wellspring of creativity. And of course, cups are about emotions and love, etc., or can be. So for me, the soul is an expression of love. It's an expression of generativity. It's an expression of peace at its best, and it's an expression of what's given to us. It's a reminder that you know, it's okay to realize that we are not the doer. That we are, as Byron Katie, one of my great influences, says, you know, it's not so much that we're breathing; it's that we are being breathed. And there's an awful lot in our lives that we can allow to just flow from us and out of us in a very positive, peaceful way. So that's my unity spread, and I just wanted to make the short video so you had a closer look at it on its own, outside of the longer video. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and now I can get on with cleaning this board, because the board is going to be called into action again soon, because a new series is on its way. I'm very excited. I'm very excited indeed, and I can't wait to share it with you. But I'll say no more than that for now. Take care of yourselves. See you soon.